Hey y'all, welcome back to Live, Laugh, Grow. I'm so glad you stopped by. Today we are going to be chatting about kindergarten curriculum. This is going to be our upcoming 2018-2019 school year, and my son will finally be starting officially kindergarten, and this is going to be an overview of what we are going to be doing for his curriculum this year. I'm glad you stopped by and glad you joined me. La, 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 la. Okay, so for this year's curriculum for kindergarten, for my son, we are going to be doing math, reading, which we'll be doing reading aloud. I'll be doing reading aloud for him, and then he'll also be learning to read some more. He actually is reading one-syllable words. We wrapped up the end of pre-K with him reading some one-syllable words, but we're going to continue progressing through that. Developing his handwriting skills, of course, doing some arts and crafts like we did last year, history, science with his sister, and then we're going to start trying to work on some motor skills and personal development skills, and then some other kind of language artsy things to go along with his reading skills. So I'm excited to tell you about each of those. We don't actually, because we are eclectic homeschoolers, we kind of do a little bit of everything, and we don't actually have one set box curriculum per se for his school year, but we have a little bit of this and a little bit of that as eclectic homeschoolers. So let's get started maybe with his math and what we're going to be doing for that. Okay, so for math, just like we did for pre-kindergarten, we are going to be playing some fun games with Legos. We're going to be practicing skip counting. We're going to be practicing counting. And then we are also working in the Math Mammoth. Like I had mentioned in our last year's third grade and pre-K curriculum overview, we're going to continue with Math Mammoth. If you haven't seen those videos, go check them out. But Math Mammoth is a curriculum that I actually downloaded. I paid for the 1st through 7th grade curriculums, and I downloaded and I print those as we need them. So he has a nice handy little binder that he goes through. And so we've actually started the 1st grade curriculum for him for this. That suggests a lot of fun games. He loves really the games in here, and they really develop his math skills. He gets really excited about doing the games. So we spend a lot of times doing games. We really only try to do one sheet out of the Math Mammoth curriculum. We spend a lot more time doing hands-on because he really enjoys that. And he really tends to learn a lot better than he does just sitting down and working worksheets. At the beginning of each chapter, it has a lot of helpful resources that you can find on the internet, which consist of playing fun games, and then there's other actual game recommendations. So it has a lot of fun things in the beginning of this, and that's what I really like about this curriculum resource. And this is the curriculum resource that I do plan to continue to use. I'll let you guys know at the end of the year kind of how far we got in the 1st grade curriculum and how it worked out, and if we continued to be real heavy in the games. But as of now, I do foresee us being a lot more hands-on and kind of using this as a secondary for handwriting, actually implementing using the numbers and things like that. So that's a little bit about our math. Let's talk about reading. So I'm probably going to refer a lot to this is what we did last year, because I'm not changing a lot up with what we did compared to his pre-K curriculum for his kindergarten curriculum. I did learn some things, but this year we're really not changing a whole lot. But for reading, I'm continuing to do a lot of read alouds and letting him pick what he enjoys from the library, and then I pick what I think he'll enjoy. This year I'm actually implementing for both of my children a reading log. It was something I did not do last year, and since we have to submit a portfolio to our state, at the end of last year I actually went to the library and printed off a log of everything that we had checked out to submit as part of our portfolio for my daughter. So this year, at the beginning of the year, I actually did print off a reading log. So this is something that I have on their daily checklist. I've printed it. I write down the name of the book that we read, if he read it or if I read it, and then the date that we completed it. So I'm tracking those as part of his reading program. So that's something. Just like last year, I don't really have a particular list of what they're reading. I really like for them to be able to pick out their books so it is something that they enjoy and that they're not dreading. As far as teaching him to read, we're continuing this year, just like with last year, with the Ordinary Parent's Guide to Teaching Reading. Last year we completed part 1, which was essentially just reviewing letters, learning all of the letters, all of the letter sounds, and the short vowel sounds. At the beginning, it goes over at the beginning of part 2, it goes over each short vowel sound and one syllable words with those short vowel sounds. So we got through that. I'm starting this year by reviewing those words like bob and tip and top and hat and cat. He's doing really well reading all those. I intend to keep following this and progressing. We are reading some Bob books to go along with that. And I'm doing some sight words in the part 2. It actually does pick up sight words through here, like the and I and things like that. I actually work with him and we're a little bit further along with that. But I do intend to keep using this book, and it has upwards of 250 lessons in it. So I still am not sure if we're going to complete that this year. So this may actually be something we carry into first grade. But so far, we do plan to continue with this for teaching him to read. Okay, so as a kindergartner, of course, kids need to develop their handwriting skills. They're really learning to hold a pencil, hold their crayons, hold their markers, and do those sort of things. And I really want to teach him to start drawing those letters and hopefully help him be able to tell the difference between B and D and those sort of things. And to teach him handwriting, I've just kind of got some books that I've picked up from Toys R Us. Right here I have a K-2 Manuscript Writing. It basically goes through, if you can see this here, I don't think you can see it, but it has each letter, like this is H, where he would trace the capital letter H and then the lowercase h, and then it has a word that begins with the letter H, and then it has fun little rhymes. He likes to read these and do silly answers, but then you have to write the answers, like what did the bee say to the flower? Hello, honey, or hello, pretty, and depending on which one he thought was funny, he gets to write that out. So we do one or two of these sheets 1 to 2 times a week, because in math and some of his other things, he is doing handwriting. So I don't really like to force this upon them. Handwriting is not his favorite thing. I'm not sure how many children it would be, but this is something, it is important, and I know that he needs to learn to develop his handwriting skills. So I just pick up these random books. I'm not using a writing program, an official writing program, just because he's in kindergarten, he's working through that. It's a skill that he's not struggling with, so I'm just picking up these books. I have, like I said, that manuscript writing. I have this beginning reading book. There's different things that will help with his progression of language arts skills, and then also his handwriting in here. Language arts skills being like, what comes first? What do you think is going to happen at the end of the story? What's out of place? The same sort of things that you kind of do in pre-K and kindergarten. And then we have a kindergarten super scholar book. You can get any of these books from Amazon, probably your local teacher stores, Walmart, those sort of things. These are school zone books. So in here they have dot to dots, which are the same, which are different, kind of just developing those language arts skills so they have reading comprehension skills. And then along the way, it's handwriting, tracing U's, finding your lowercase e's, your uppercase e's, those sort of things. And then my son loves mazes. So this helps him hold his pencil. It helps him develop drawing those lines. And then he actually has, to actually think through working these mazes. And this big Mazes and More books, it starts out very simple in the beginning. And then as you progress through the book, it gets more and more difficult. So not only is it helping with him developing his handwriting skills, but it's really having him have it to think through, okay, I have to start here and I need to get here. What is the best way to do that? So some critical thinking skills using these. So this, like I said, this is another school zone book, and you can easily pick these up through Amazon or Walmart or anywhere that carries these little work text. And then our last one we have is our big workbook for alphabet. This would be another book for handwriting and language arts skills. Tracing letters, he actually did start this book last year. We just never finished it, so we're just going to continue with it. Tracing the letter A, finding your things that start with the letter H, just those basic language arts skills. So I just have a stack of books for language arts, handwriting, reading comprehension, that books that I've just simply picked up through Toys R Us or that we saw and we thought looked cool. So I don't have a set curriculum, because really those basic skills that they need to learn in kindergarten and pre-K are covered in these books, and it's not something you have to spend a tremendous amount of money on. So that kind of shows you what we're doing in our house. It has worked for us. It worked for us for pre-K, and I'm hoping that it's going to work for kindergarten as well. So when I talk about language arts skills and math skills and those sort of things, I've actually gone out and done some research and found, okay, what should my pre-kindergartner be learning? What should my kindergartner be learning? And I've found these handy checklists. So these are things that I'm using when I'm looking for these books that I'm looking at to see, okay, what are they teaching, and are these skills that are applicable to my kindergartner? So I have these handy dandy checklists. This is on a clipboard that I keep on our desk. The kids each have a clipboard that they use that have the things that they need to do each day, but then I have a clipboard that I can reference to say, okay, during this time I want us to develop these skills. So this is a kindergarten curriculum overview that I reference, and on here it says, okay, kindergartners need to develop these language arts skills: left to right progression, attentive listening, rhyming words and sounds. So during our language arts time, I would pick one of these skills and say, okay, let's practice rhyming words. What rhymes with man? And we just kind of go back and forth for a few minutes, and he thinks that's fun, and to him it's not really learning. So I've done, like I said, just do your research. You can figure out what your kids need to learn and just simply find things that cover those skills. Okay, so I know I'm saying it a lot, but just like we did last year, this year for arts and crafts, I do plan to still utilize our local library. We'll go to our library one day a week. Our librarian, our children's librarian at a library that's just 5 minutes down the road from us, she offers a class once a week for 1 hour. She reads a story, and then we do a craft or some type of art, learn about an artist, and they do 1 or 2 crafts related to that story or that artist. So it's really fun. She's one of our favorite people, and the kids really love going to enjoy and being able to interact with her and learn from her. And in that way, it's a little bit easier on me. It's something that I don't have to teach. It's something we don't have to have all the materials laying around for. So it's really fun for both of us. We're able to get out of the house. We're able to interact with other people, and then the bonus of not having to have the mess and stuff here. So that's what we're going to do for arts and crafts again this year. Okay, so history and science, we do combine. My kindergartner and third grader do history and science together. Last year we did Story of the World Volume 1, Ancient Times. This year we're moving to Story of the World Volume 2, The Middle Ages. There's a little bookmark in here. We actually started last week, so there's a bookmark in here. We read the stories in here one day a week. We do map work and activities out of the activity book another day of the week. And then usually on Fridays, to make Friday fun, we do activities. In the book, it follows kind of that progression. There's review questions to help with reading comprehension. Then there's additional history reading, so it'll provide a list of other literature that you can get at your local library that will go along with what you've read in that chapter, and so we'll do that when we do map work. There's a map page for every, I'm not sure you can see that, for every chapter. They actually go through and have to color the seas or color the empire for a certain ruler for that time. And as a kindergartner and even as a pre-K, my son liked doing that, and he thought it was cool talking about the different places in history. So we do that, and the fun activities, like this last week, we were supposed to build a Roman pillar out of sugar cookies and then tear it down like the barbarians when they came and destroyed Rome, so toward the end of Rome. so that you can see for any elementary age, it's fun. So that is something we'll be doing for history this year, and we're very excited about that. Okay, last but not least, but for science this year, I actually went online and found kind of an introductory science study. If you guys have watched my videos from last year's curriculum, I tried dividing the year up into the different sciences. This year I kind of went back to the basics, and we're doing an intro to science. This is an intro to science written by Paige Hudson. It's something I found online, I purchased, and I downloaded, and I created the notebooks myself. She provides you student pages, and then I have teacher pages that I printed off and created my own little folder. And then she also provides in the teacher pages more detail that you can use for your older children. So I will be doing this with my son and daughter, and within the teacher pages I can print off pages that are more applicable to her. But this is geared toward pre-K, kindergarten, first grade. So this really is basics. Like the first starts with solids, liquids, and masses. And she does, in her introduction, she does say that you need other books to go along with her study. So we have, each week will include a regular science study, and then there'll be a nature study. So she says that you need to get the Handbook of Nature Study. So this is basically, I believe, something that as a parent, you read certain studies, and then you're able to go on nature walks and kind of tell your children about what they're seeing based off what you've read in the Handbook of Nature Study. So, and then we have the More Mud Pies to Magnets. This has all your experiments and details of things that she's asking you to do each week. And depending on the schedule that you choose, I think in here it's pretty cool because she gives you a schedule where you can say, okay, I want to do science 2 days a week. And she actually lays it out and says, okay, if you're going to do it 2 days a week, this is what you need to do on day 1. It would be an experiment from mud pies to magnets, and this is what you're going to do on day 2, and it would be a nature walk that includes information from the nature study. So the mud pies to magnets has the details of the experiments in it. And then one more book that she recommends that you have is the Usborne First Encyclopedia of Science. We have not used this yet. Like I said, we just got started last week, so I believe she just talks about in here, references certain pages for you to read as additional reading to go along with that week's lesson. So be warned, I can't say how it's going to be. I'm excited based on the first week. I think it's going to go well, but not only I was able to purchase that printable for $16, but then I had to purchase these 3 additional books to go with it. But they are great reference books that we can use at any time. And I had actually purchased this last year and never used it, so it is something that we're able to utilize this year. Okay, so to wrap up, this year, like I said, we are going through a whole slew of subjects for my pre-K, but this is his actual checklist of how I have his year divided. Each week, this shows what he's going to do. We have Monday, and he goes through and he does math, language arts, handwriting, that sort of thing. And then on Tuesday, this is what he should expect to do. And on Wednesday, this is what he should expect to do. So I've taken all the curriculum items that I've showed you and divided it up and said, okay, this is what we're going to do and how we're going to complete that this year. And as Eclectic Homeschoolers, I am responsible for kind of taking the curriculum because I'm pulling things from here and there and saying, okay, this is how I want to implement this. So I think that's really fun. The kids like that everything is a little bit different. They look forward to, you know, the change and go, okay, this is what I really like. And I like the fact that it is flexible for us, because if we don't like one thing, we don't have to throw everything out. We just take that one thing and replace it. So I am excited. I'll let you know at the end of the year how things go. And if you found this video helpful, make sure and like below. Subscribe to the channel. You'll be seeing lots of other things like this. And I'll have an upcoming video about my 3rd graders curriculum and then lots of other mom stuff. So stay tuned. See y'all.